Today on Community Spotlight, we're joined by Joe Fontana, dubbed the Ted Lasso of sales teams with 30 years of building and leading sales organizations across industries, 18 of them from the ground up, coaching hundreds of sellers into their best self. He's now the founding VP of sales at Dextego, an AI-enabled sales coaching platform helping reps sharpen their conversations before they even happen. Joe's also passionate about helping sales professionals build personal brands and networks that open doors and not scare people away. We're going to dig into all of that today, from building your social presence to Sales Pro, and why small bespoke events are the new pipeline power play, and how AI coaching is reshaping the sales craft. Welcome, Joe. Now, first,
Welcome, welcome. Wow, what an intro. Thank you.
Scott, I hope I got some of your best asset in the intro.
You did. Wow, I'm honored. Thank you so much.
You are a multi-talented individual, and I just wanted to say, I want to tell people why I asked you and invited you to the community spotlight here. I became aware of you on LinkedIn through your dad jokes. And it was just like a nice little break in the day, a nice little, you know, laugh break or whatever, break from all the stress and the sales and the pitching. And it was something different. It stood out in the feed. So that's when I first started liking those kind of posts. But then I started paying attention because then I started seeing your efforts to help salespeople, your tips in what you do, and also that you were very genuine in helping people in general. Like if somebody needed help, if they were having difficulties and needed someone to stand up for them, you never hesitated. And you aren't just one of those people that says, I help people. I've witnessed that you actually do. And that makes you a standout person to me in my mind also. So
Thank you,
I
man.
was reeled in by the dad jokes, but I was stayed there because of the rest of your content and the rest of what you teach. So that is why I invited you to be here today, because there's so many questions I want to ask you about what you're
Fire
doing.
away. Thanks for having me and for making me blush so hard on a Monday. Um,
Well, I mean, I feel like you're a standout individual, and I know a lot of people want to learn how to do that for themselves. Um, I just realized yesterday, as I was doing my research for this podcast, that you have almost 20,000 followers on LinkedIn. Now, I knew you had a lot of followers because I see your posts and I see a lot of interaction. I figured you were a thing, right? But I didn't realize your following was quite that big. So I would really love to know how you did that, or how long did it take you to do that? Was it a deliberate effort?
it was a deliberate effort. I mean, I've been on LinkedIn forever and a day. Apologize for the dogs barking in the background.
Okay.
They know I'm on a podcast.
Yeah.
Um, so I've been on LinkedIn almost since the day it started. Back when you really just used it as a virtual Rolodex. It was a way to remove from your office thousands of business cards.
Yeah.
So for the younglings out there, they were about yay big, had all your contact information on them. It was the only way you can contact people. On the back, you usually wrote notes about the person if you met them live. Um,
The good old days. I remember those.
but it was not until a few years ago, leading a team of SDRs, that I started to get an appreciation of how that tool has changed from a virtual Rolodex to a content generation engine to a place that you can drive revenue. You can share with people what makes you special, so to speak. Um, but it was about 3 or 4 years ago that I saw SDRs effectively using the tool to drive revenue. It was also at that time that I saw a few of them begin to make names for themselves as influencers by doing nothing more than just sharing our one-on-ones. I'd sit with them for an hour and then they would post like they knew what they were talking about.
Cool.
After a few pranks, a lot of my SDRs stopped doing that. Um, but that's when my eyes really opened to how can I be the person sharing this knowledge? I don't think I ever succeeded at it, because I don't have the following that others do. I think that's a blessing because I've always tried to build a very deliberate network. It's sellers, it's marketers, it's the kind of people that I've worked with for over 30 years. And with that experience of working with in that space for 30 years, I feel like I bring value to these relationships. Like you said, either by making introductions if they're looking for work, being able to look at something that they've built in this case, the CEO and co-founder of Dextego, when she, or Ioana Onasi, when she first shared the tool with me, and countless others that have done the same. Um, I don't know where I was going with this. So let's go with some questions.
It was a deliberate effort, and you picked it up on the trend over time, and you started building for yourself. And I love that you sort of had more of a focus following and connections, because you can get a lot of, maybe for an SEO comparison, you get a lot of traffic, but if it's irrelevant traffic, does it really do you any good? Right. So you're making
Exactly.
connections that are in your world and matter, and you matter to them too, the mutual benefit.
Well, at the end of the day, it is a business tool. So
Yeah.
I tend to be intentional with the individuals I want to connect with. I think they're intentional in those relationships as well. Um, and it's been a lot of fun. I
Yeah.
know my LinkedIn journey has been a ton of failures in what I think works and doesn't work. At
Yeah.
the end of the day, what really worked was just being myself. That's
Yes.
where the dad jokes started. They started as a way to drive people to content that really, at the end of the day, they could have found without looking at me anyway. People are doing research. The people that I was prospecting would look at my website before they looked at any of the content I would share on sales and marketing alignment or sales coaching. Um, but one of the reasons they did that research was because there was that silly, stupid dad joke.
They had heard of you.
Like,
You
oh,
got
this
got to
guy I
know
got
you
to need
got.
to learn about. Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
Exactly. Well, I mean, I guess you talked about this a little bit, but what has changed about how sales pros need to show up online today?
A
I'm sure a
good
lot has
one.
changed.
You know, sellers need to come with the fact, and this is universal. This is one thing that hasn't changed in sales. It's just the delivery platform is different. It's not phones, it's not email. Now it's this social media platform. So you need to come correct. There is, I tell sellers all the time, just because it's a priority to you, and getting that deal closed is important to you, doesn't mean a thing to your prospect. So you have to be willing and able to have conversations that have nothing to do with your product or your service or how you deliver it. You have to be willing to have conversations that negate even mentioning a feature, a benefit. It has to be focused on the pain. It has to be focused on developing trust, because trust builds rapport, it builds credibility. It's what drives them to do the research on their own and continue those conversations in the hopes of building a relationship, so that when the things you can't control, urgency and timing and budgets, become a priority, you're the person they remember.
Yes.
Like,
Yes.
LinkedIn is a slow play. Yeah, there'll be those diamonds in the rough. I need to talk to you today. I saw a comment you made or a post that you did. Those are few and far between if you're doing it right.
Right. Right. It is definitely a long game. So I know personally, I've met a lot of sellers who seem a little bit baffled by what they should be doing on LinkedIn or other social platforms for that matter. Balancing their personal brand with advocating for their company or the product they represent. Um, I work for a company, cybersecurity company, specifically B2B SaaS, basically, um, to help them build employee advocacy programs, right? And salespeople are usually, they're a little hesitant, it seems like sometimes. They're not sure what their approach should be. They don't want to. I encourage them to make more connections, to write content, about themselves and their career, not the 80-20 rule. Don't 80% you, 20% for your product or company, right? It's kind of a good rule of thumb. And I try to encourage them to get out there, but they seem hesitant. They're afraid they're going to scare people off. They don't know how to approach people and make those connections. Um, and I advocate for the fact that it's good for both you and your company to build your network. So I feel like it's
Yeah,
something you really need to do.
you certainly need to do it. And here's what I tell sellers that have issues on building a brand: your content, your posts, those can be you. Hey, everybody, so what I'm doing today is these are the trials and tribulations of being a seller, for doing this and talking to this and trying to solve this problem. Comments, DMs, that's the company.
Okay.
Because the way I do it So the reason I get to connect with marketers and sellers is because they have been my ICP. That is not the case for the average seller in the tech world. So their connection requests need to be with their buyers, needs to be with their ICP, needs to be top down in regards to, and bottom up in regards to who they're targeting at a company, CEO, this person, that person, all of them. Because the drive isn't, hey, I want to share my features and benefits. It's, I want to learn about the things that make you piss the bed at 4 a.m. What are the challenges that you're facing? And you're showing your thought leadership. You're showing how you could be a viable partner in the comments when they post about the things that they post about.
Yeah, that's part of the strategy, I would say, is to don't go at them in a cold DM until you've sort of interacted with their
You
content.
have to do something to develop yourself. You have to do something to develop or at least initiate a standing for credibility.
Yes, definitely.
You know,
Um,
it's sometimes it could be in how you introduce yourself and the way I introduce myself. Yes, you're my ICP. I don't want to sell you a thing. I just want to have conversations and learn. And there are 1,000 tools that will show you a really nice way to take those two sentences and turn it into a message that is focused on what makes them itch and your desire to be humble and learn from them. Not about them, but from them.
when
Because
you
that
say
sales 101 is being interested rather than interesting. You could be interesting in your comments when they're talking through a pain, when you're seeing your ICP is sharing something around a challenge or an issue that they're facing. That's when you can do that. Um, but you have to be willing to do a very, very, very slow burn. Um, on the flip side, the content that you're putting out, you want it to resonate with your prospects, but on a human level.
yes,
Because really, at the end of the day, social media is just your chance to show people, ironically, how human you are
yes,
and how
exactly
authentic you are, because that's the only thing that's going to drive anything.
right. I feel like, especially in cybersecurity and tech, um, in B2B specifically, in cybersecurity, it's a niche community. Anyone who's part of it, including sales and marketing people, can contribute to the conversations. They can jump in on conversation with the practitioners, the end users, your ICP, um, who you want to show off your product to. But you can, before doing the pitch, do content around the topic. Just first of all, pay attention, listen to what people are talking about, pay attention to trends, see what your ICP is talking about, and think about how to respond and get in on the conversation. As a person who's just interested in cybersecurity, for example, a person who's interested in a topic, not
Sales is a series of
not so
conversations.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
So just be willing and able to have them, be willing and able to have them knowing that nothing will come from them that day, because 99.9% of the time they won't. And that's why sellers don't have them.
Yes, it's more
It's
about
almost like an SDR passing off a lead that, oh, this guy's not a fit, or I don't want to talk to him. I don't know the following things. You need to go out. You have to have the conversation. You know, your content, your comments are just the engine to drive them.
it's
I use dad jokes as the engine to drive my conversations.
right, and it has a wide appeal, and you attract a wider audience maybe than you would focus on, but you don't know who they know and they know and so on. That's the beauty of social networking. That the whole concept of LinkedIn is the first, second, and third connection. And that's how you dig in and build your network.
People
They
buy
need
from
to
people they know.
exactly. And people need to also for their own sake and their own careers, it's okay for you to be a human being and have ambitions and have plans and learn things and share you're showing off your professional self on LinkedIn. That's the place for it. It's okay to have that and not just always be trying to I guess get leads or you know what I mean? It's not necessarily like you said, it's a long game. It's not necessarily an operational system for making a lead list, if you know what I'm saying.
If anything, it could help you um, build out the build out the lists, the people that you can target. I mean, SalesNav is a perfect tool for doing. Um, it's what people fail to recognize is that it is not the end all be all. It is one of many tools that you should be using. If you're in SaaS sales and only living on LinkedIn, you're doing yourself a disservice, because LinkedIn is just another tool you're using to create either relevancy or the first strings of awareness. So
Yes.
you need to be dialing, you need to be emailing, you need to be doing the other things, you need to be where they're at, you need to be doing the events, all of the little things that make up a properly structured cadence. And that's what a lot of salespeople fail to recognize. They think there's a quick fix here. There isn't. It is just a tool that can get your message out to a ton of people, um, as well as specific individuals at the same time.
That's true. Yes.
There's a magic to it, but there's a mayhem as well when you're only relying on that. Because if you're
Oh, yeah.
just looking at it as I'm living in LinkedIn, unless somebody's handing you leads on a daily basis, you're not going to stay alive for very long. So you
No.
need to be making the dials. It needs to be just part of a concerted effort. Now, you can save emails for this is what I do, this is how I do it. You can save a text or a desire to hop on a call. This is who I am. This is what the problems I solve for. LinkedIn, I think, needs to be a bit more reserved than that. A lot of funny pun. You need to drop your drawers for a minute and come a little bit more authentic, a little bit more your natural self. Gets to
Yes.
see it on one side with a properly structured email that really drives to the pain that I'm dealing with and maybe gives me some insights or a tool that I can use to learn more. Because by the time that they come and talk to you, the research has been done for the most part. When they're ready to talk, when they have
Oh,
money to
yeah.
spend, when the urgency is there, when this is a priority in this market, if you don't think your prospect has done their homework, you're doomed for failure.
Oh, now,
It's going to blow up right in your face.
yes.
So why not be the person that's done all their homework before that day even comes? So when that day comes, it's, yeah, I spoke with Joe. We had a funny conversation. We made fun of dad jokes. We laughed about our wives. He reminded me about a case study that he had emailed me. Didn't really drive to it, but I'd like to continue this conversation because I looked at the case study that he sent. I did 15 minutes of work and I did come out to a couple of customers. I did look at the person that he mentioned in that text to me that day. And that's how you get where you want to get. So there's no easy fix. There's no, I'm going to blink and here's my pipeline. More
Right.
than you can blink and get really good data on the leads that you're targeting in the hopes of turning them into prospects. But you
Right.
got to do the work. Yeah, and that's, I think, where a lot of young sellers, especially in B2B SaaS, fail today. They have all of these tools that enable them to do amazing things, but don't realize that those things are just natural extensions of what they should be doing.
Yeah. Yes. That's sort of, that
You
leads me
should
a little
be
bit into
emailing.
the
Here's
topic.
a tool that allows you to do it properly. You
Yeah.
should be focusing on intent. Here's a tool that helps drive that. Here's something for your messaging. Here's something for the research. Here's something so I can call 50 people at the same time. But none of them work if the human isn't putting the effort in. And LinkedIn is no different.
Exactly. I mean, how many times
Into
have
my
we all
rant.
experienced like bad cold outreach, where they didn't do their homework?
Listen to me, and I have used LinkedIn
Relevant to you.
shamelessly wrong in the
Yeah.
past. I would do posts, this is my company, this is how we do it. There was a point where I would call out competitors, like, ask me why we're, how you fix this problem or solve that. It didn't bring me any deals quicker. Did it get me a ton of engagement? Yes.
Uh,
Did it allow me to stay relevant with my prospects? Certainly. But sometimes not in the way that you wanted them to be,
right.
because they came then with the expectation that this guy's a seller and he's going to sell me.
Yes.
So it
Yeah.
actually took me removing that kind of content from my daily posting schedule in order to re-earn the credibility of my network.
Yes. That brings me to a thing. I've observed salespeople sort of hide the fact in their title on LinkedIn that they're a salesperson. You have to like get, they're an expert in this field or something. a subject matter expert or an advocate or something, but they're not a sales. They won't say they're an account
You
executive or
put
anything along
things
those
like
lines.
that there, you give
Yeah.
up so quickly that you are a seller.
Well, I think they're thinking that they don't want to scare people off. Like they want to make connections. Hey, you want to connect? You want to talk about cybersecurity stuff? Well, if I have
Hey, I'd
sales
love to
in my
talk to you about
background,
cybersecurity stuff because my company solves that problem on a daily basis. But Laura, I'm not here to solve that problem for you today. I just want to learn about the challenges that you're facing. I give you
yeah,
my word. I won't pitch you, but you got to promise not to, I promise this won't be a pitch. Let's just get the chance to know one another. A lot of young sellers
that's it.
want to hide things. They want to hide their experience. They want to hide um what they're there to do. They
Yeah.
want to hide how long they've been doing it. But those that own it, hey, I'm a seller and I'm a young seller. I'm a dipstick dumbass that doesn't know what makes my prospects think and would love to learn
Like,
from somebody who's been in the game as long as you have.
yes.
Take that. I'm a baby. Help me, dad. Hey, good uncle, will you show me the way?
Yes.
Everybody's got an ego. The most frequently used word in the English language is I. So it goes back to don't be interesting, be interested.
Wow. No,
Tell
that's
me
that,
about what you're
you know,
facing. I'm hearing a lot of things. Is any of this accurate? I don't have an inkling of the experience that you do.
because people are so often they're willing to help. People love to help.
They are willing to
Yeah,
help.
and they love to
Put
be
the
told.
veil down. Okay, this guy's a seller. Yes, I am a seller. This is what I represent. This is how I do it. I don't think we're a fit, which is why I'm reaching out to you.
Exactly.
You want to hide anything? You
Clever and
want to
everything.
be a little sneaky, being in the fact that I don't, and you're not even being sneaky because you're not necessarily lying to the guy.
I'll just pretend
Um,
you don't know.
I don't think we'd be a fit to work with one another, which is why I'm reaching out to you.
That's good. Okay. Right,
You could
right.
share that with your team today. If they all want to know the kudos, it comes from Laura. We've had a ton of these conversations, and I know that you use them with your sellers. But that's a great approach to take. Of I don't think you'd be a fit. It's not a lie. It's not the truth. Um, a good seller over time will at least be an option for him to consider,
Right. Oh, well,
and
trust me.
maybe the option that they consider because you came with that unabashed honesty. You came with that
Yeah.
humility.
That
As
is
they say
every
in Game of Thrones, you bended the knee on first conversation. I'm a dumbass. I'm 27. You've been doing your job longer than I've been alive. I would just learn to love more. Just learn to love. I'd love to learn from you. I'd love
yes.
15 minutes of your time. I'm even willing
Yes.
to splurge on coffee if you're
I'm
willing
not
to do it.
worthy. I'm not worthy.
I'm looking for a mentor in the space that can
Right.
really talk to me about what system engineers in your space or insert title here are facing in the real world.
Right.
And I'm only
Um,
doing it because I don't think, quote unquote, think you and I would be able to do business together.
right. So you just
But I'd love
eliminate
to
the
learn
whole you
from you.
eliminate the whole
Yeah,
pit
like I don't
level.
think there's a chance we'd ever be able to do business, which is why I'm reaching out.
Right.
Because I want to learn, but I don't want you to feel like I'm here to take something from
Right.
you other than all of this knowledge. Please help me
And that's
and
gold.
make your posts about that. You
Yeah.
then want to react and interact with your prospects on a very real level. There's a young kid, his name is Daniel Sung, and all he does is preach about his journey as a 20-year-old trying to get into marketing. I had a conversation with this guy, had a chat with that guy. That stuff becomes self-sustaining for a seller because the first thing that somebody on LinkedIn is going to do more often than not is check your profile, check your posts. So when I say in my posts, enjoy the dad jokes, or when I say to somebody looking for work, hey, I think I can help you, the only proof they have is the unlimited content that supports or negates that.
That's true.
So if you're a seller trying to make a name for yourself, you need to be talking about the pain that you can solve. And you need to do it with the reverse psychology of, I want them to do the talking. How do I get them to talk?
Yes. I mean,
Have the balls and tag somebody.
there's a win-win situation because you are going to learn something out of that conversation. And every conversation you have after that, or everything you do after that, is just going to further prove who you are, that you can be trusted, that you're genuinely interested, that you're someone people can talk to.
Everybody wants to develop the relationship. Oh, we're relationship sellers. We're going to develop relationships. The only way to do that is to first develop trust.
Yes.
Unless
Amen.
there are people out there that have relationships with people they don't trust and consider them healthy relationships.
Yeah.
I have relationships with people I don't trust. They're the furthest thing from healthy. Um, as they should be.
Right. Well, keep your
Um,
enemy close, right?
exactly. But if you're looking to develop a relationship, that comes from trust first. The only way to develop trust is to, like I said earlier, drop your draws and be your authentic self.
Yes.
Um,
Oh, trust
and
me,
for
as a
any
marketer.
seller under the
Yeah.
age of 30, being your authentic self is, I still have a lot to learn.
Right.
So why not go to your prospects instead of, I want to pitch you, I want to learn from you.
To come
I've got this
with
great
humility.
solution more than you've got these challenges. And the more you're having authentic, organic conversations around their challenges, the more you can slyly refer to a case study or bring in some use cases of where you've worked. Refer them to a site that shares some information where they can learn a little more. And there's
Right.
never a push. There's never, hey, let's take that and turn it into a deal. I saw a great post about that today. People do things for prospects and expect it to get them the result they're looking for, more than the net result needs to be. They have more awareness today than they did yesterday.
Yes. Yeah. That's a
And
great approach.
tomorrow,
That's a great
I'm
approach.
going to tickle it further. I'm
Right.
going to be annoyingly persistent rather than persistently annoying.
Uh-huh. I
It's,
love that.
here's all the stuff and enjoy it. Don't care. Oh, great. Not going to follow up. Did you read it? Did you open it?
What did you think about it? Is there anything we could do better? Is there anything
Yeah.
saying here? Yeah, get feedback. Great.
Hey, I saw you looked at it. Gotcha. That's where LinkedIn works. Hey, saw you opened it. Just love to get your thoughts on whether or not I nailed it here.
Right. Right. Magic. It's magic. Like you said, it's a long game, but
And
put
all of
together
these
these
people,
efforts.
you can
Yeah.
end every conversation and every interaction with. Anybody in your network facing these challenges that you think would be a fit for a conversation with me?
Right.
Oh yeah, my buddy's dealing with this. He might be great for your product. I can't use your product because of excuse. I'm not ready. There's no budgets. But my buddy John,
He was just saying
he
that.
calls me from the toilet at 4 a.m. when this thing's giving him agita. So you have to talk to John.
Exactly.
But that's how it happens. It comes from a network. A network is not an overnight thing. It doesn't
Right.
happen in a bottle. You have to do all the time and effort. I was
Yes.
posting on a consistent basis for 6 months before I saw that drive to revenue that I was hoping I'd see on the first day.
Okay. Good information. That's yes, it's definitely it's an investment. It's an investment in yourself and your career and your I guess worth almost to
Yeah, I
help
mean,
me like it
it provides professional cachet in that
better
you
way to
get to show the impact you can have on others, the benefits of being in a network with you, and having some fun while you're at it.
exactly. Well, now I want to turn the tables and talk about something different. It's something that I picked up on you talking about on LinkedIn a while ago, and it's stuck in my head. I can't stop thinking about it. In cybersecurity, we like to vet all the vendors want to go to all the big events, and these big cybersecurity events are very expensive to go to. They're usually very short, maybe 2 or 3 days. You've got a booth, and you're doing your thing as fast as you can, 5, 10 minutes with each person. Um, a lot of people are saying me are questioning maybe that's not so effective anymore. Maybe it's not worth maybe it's not a good return ROI. And so you started talking about doing instead small, what I call bespoke regional events, sort of dinners and that sort of thing, and having a VIP sort of guest list that you invite to these things. And I just wanted to, I'm like, that's brilliant, but I wanted to dig into like what is that exactly and how do you
I
do it?
so wish I could take credit for that, but I've run a few demand gen agencies
Oh,
that specialize in this.
wow.
So I've been in events for a minute. That's why sellers and marketers are my ICP. And I have seen that glacial shift from large trade shows because back in the day, they did drive revenue. You did close deals from them, but that paradigm has shifted now. To me, in my opinion, as I've seen large trade shows over the last few years, they're awareness plays for your organization. For sellers, it's a chance to get away from home and have some dinners and hang out with your buds and drink till everybody pukes on the casino table. And if anybody's telling you otherwise, they're full of it.
Right, right.
Maybe there will be isolated circumstances where they're having some conversations. Um, but to me, the true value of events that move the needle are the smaller, more bespoke dinners or events that are single sponsored and focus on 30, 40 people. The smaller the audience, the better.
Uh,
But the ones that succeed, again, are doing the slow play. They're not having a dinner where you first had to look at content and had to look at gated information and had to answer a series of questions and complete a questionnaire. It was, hey, I'm hosting a dinner focused around this pain that people in cybersec face every day. We're going to have some additional people with your roles and titles, companies from here and here and there. Would love if you could join us for dinner.
So is it like you bring in a speaker they want to hear, or is it like,
Typically, an organization will sponsor this. So,
oh,
for example, AWS would come to me and say, we want to be in a room with 15 to 20 CISOs.
okay,
Perfect. Give us the companies that you're targeting. Okay. In addition to CISOs, what are some of the other roles that you would want? Because everybody wants the big role.
right, yeah.
They
What's the
tend to make their decision within a committee. So yeah, the CISO signs the agreement, but it's the director of, you know,
well,
farts and smellers
it's
that's going to help move that decision down the pike.
right. It's the
So
board, it's finance,
it's all those different players that make up a complex sales cycle.
right.
Um, you're bringing them in a room that is free of a pitch. There's no, hey, everybody, let's take a look at the screen. You even want to keep the branding to a minimum, but there's a person from your organization, from that AWS, that's leading that conversation. That person is not a seller.
Okay.
They're typically the same role or the person that is dealing with people of this role on a daily basis, a fellow product engineer, a fellow systems engineer. You guys are in cybersec and you're having a conversation around AML. It's your internal AML specialist that's
Oh,
having a conversation
yeah,
with other AML specialists around an issue that's challenging, but you have the solve for. But they don't want to hear about the solve. They want to hear that you can actually talk without sounding like an ass, that you can have a conversation and drive these pains, because sitting on both corners of the room are two sellers. And those sellers know less is more. If you want to walk away from anything from this dinner, is a couple of meetings scheduled for next week, or whether or not Ranjesh prefers the souffle over the creme brulee.
right.
Laugh, but that's how you're building trust. That turns
Yes.
into a relationship. Those smaller events allow you to kill two birds with one stone
Sure.
because you're building trust and a relationship in tandem at the same time.
Yes. And you're bringing
And what
in,
are you talking about? A lot of times, nothing. You're just listening to the conversations going on around you and maybe furthering it by asking an open question of three people around you that are talking through something.
Mhm.
And then what's your call to action? Laura, good point you make. Any chance you're free next Tuesday at 3? I'd love to continue this conversation.
Right, right. Yeah, that's good
That's
stuff.
the CTA
Yeah.
for the seller. You want to do anything there, seller? You're not pitching a thing. You're earning the right to pitch them. So earn the right to pitch them by listening to what they say,
Okay. Right.
taking the time to learn from them, learn about them, and then take that and move it to that stronger sense of awareness.
Yeah.
Because at these events, when your vendor does them right, BuyerForesight was a good example of that. When the vendor does them right, every person in that room is a 100% match to your ICP. Every person in that room is a decision maker at a company you're currently targeting or a company that you'd like to target. The one thing you don't know the answer to, and you can't ask of these people before they show up because the gig is up, is how much and how soon.
Okay.
Because the moment you ask, how much do you have to spend and how soon are you willing to spend it? Gig is up.
Yeah. Yeah.
They know.
A barrier. Yeah.
Yeah, like,
Exactly.
okay, this is going to end up with somebody asking me to open my checkbook,
Right.
and I don't want to do
Yeah.
that.
This
Like,
isn't your time to do the demo or the pitch,
exactly.
run through the sales slide. None of that, right? That's
But
what
when you do all of the things right at these dinners and you're having conversations and that subject matter expert is driving a conversation around awareness, because everything turns into, yeah, we faced that problem. Here's how we fixed it. We had that same issue. This is what we did. Oh, your competitor, they had this problem. This is how we solved it. Pitching without pitching, just by showing them like, hey, you're smart, I'm smart too.
and you're coming in with people on the same level, like you said. The part I think I missed before was bring your own SMEs, bring your own engineers, your own cybersecurity.
Those are the people that need to lead those conversations. Your
Yes.
chief engineer, somebody that brings gravitas when you're speaking to a product designer, or in your case, some tech at a bank that's trying to deal with maybe a KYC, KYB issue,
Right.
or dealing with something that relates to a ton of fraud. They don't want to have a conversation with a seller. They want to have a conversation with another guy who is sitting a ton of fraud in the face, who's having that same KYB issue, who's dealing with an organization that's still mired in cobalt.
Exactly. That's beautiful. I love it. So that,
It's simple.
yes.
There's no immediate, hey, do this event and you're going to have 5 deals in 5 weeks.
Oh, right.
What
That's
you're going to have is,
I'm going to
if
check
you
that
do
out.
this event right, 10 of these individuals, 7 of them will have a conversation with you in 2 weeks. And what I used to tell subject matter
Wow.
experts to virtually guarantee that is during introductions. And subject matter always is the last person to introduce themselves. Thanks for coming. I'm with AWS. We go blah, 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 30-second elevator pitch. But we brought you here tonight because of issues and things that drive a stronger sense of whatever.
Okay.
Thought leadership, SME, blah, blah, blah.
Right.
Nobody's here to pitch you anything this evening, but we'd love to continue the conversation. So Billy, the sales guy, and Julie, the sales girl that we mentioned a moment ago, they're going to be putting some hold on your calendar next week. If the times they suggested don't work, just let us know some times that do. But we'd love to continue this conversation. I'll be on the call as well. Love to really dig in deeper. 70% of the people there will yes that,
I
or
mean, where else?
provide you another time.
Yeah. Where else do you get that? Like, no, like nowhere else. Definitely not at the
You
large.
don't have deals, but you have a respectable top of funnel
Yes.
awareness play
Yes.
that
Definitely.
may not
I'd
pay
say more
you
than that.
anything today, because Bill loves the product, but this is something we're not going to touch for 9 months. So
It's
what do
true.
you do
Right.
at month 7? Hey, sir, I know you've been seeing some of the things that I've been sharing since we had dinner, but I remember you saying this and that. Would love to engage. Would love to show you this. Would love to show you the things that have changed since the last time we spoke, or how we took that specific pain point you mentioned and drove it home.
Right.
Now, yeah, you're doing all of these things while you're nurturing them, but
Yeah.
it's just another example of when you do these events right, when the awareness is, when the urgency is there, when the prioritization has presented itself, you will be considered. Because while I did that for tech companies, I also used it as a means to prospect for myself. So I would bring together marketers, field marketers, event marketers. I think that might have been one of the first ways we met, Laura. I might have pinged you in regards to something that I was hosting, but I brought together my ICP, brought them in a room to talk about something that pained them. A lot of times I would do dinners based on sales and marketing alignment, because there are marketers as long as the day that are currently looking for work because the seller that they worked with was a dipshit. Pardon my language.
Yeah.
Now we went into R-rated PG-13 territory with this podcast.
That's okay. Oh, yes.
I
I
lost my
remember
train.
those are themes
like,
that I definitely pay attention to. Sales and marketing.
So I brought those people in. Hey, again, this is not a pitch, but you are witnessing what we would do for your prospects, from how we engaged with you, didn't share any features or benefits or talk pricing or ask you to review anything. We just said, we know this problem makes you wake up at 4 a.m. in a cold sweat? Why not be in a room with 10 other people that wake up at the same time so that you can learn from one another, become friendly with one another, yada, yada, yada. Next week, I'm going to be putting time on everybody's calendar to
Yeah.
discuss this further, the same way we'd instruct your sales teams to do it with their prospects.
That is so powerful in so many ways. You're building
Now,
trust. You got the right people literally in a room.
but
They,
here's what
yeah.
happened every time, to a letter.
Okay.
Great solution. Love it. Can't do anything right. And that's natural.
Yeah.
That's sales. A lot of people would have been, okay, whatever. Other people make sure that that person is at least continuing that awareness journey by seeing something pop up every now and then in their email or a DM. But then that person gets a phone call. Laura, I need you to get 15 CISOs in a room in 3 months so that our VP of Blobbity Block can have a conversation about floppity flip. Got it. Know exactly who to
Oh.
call. And that's how your prospect sellers relate to you, because you took the time 6 months ago to talk to them about something, and you didn't pressure them, and you didn't annoy them, and you didn't come in with, you know, a bait and switch. You look at this, and now I
Yes.
have to push that on you. You just came there with the, I want to get to know you. I want to learn from you. Same thing with your LinkedIn outreach of, I just want to learn from you. The event is the same thing as LinkedIn. It's the same thing as an email. It's the same thing as a telephone call. It's just another tool to
Yes.
drive awareness.
Yes. It's another format. And if it's something you
It's the
do,
best one out there, but it's
oh,
why they cost so much money.
right.
Because B2B organizations that try to do this themselves always come across as too salesy. Or what? Would you listen to AWS with come to a dinner? Or would you listen to a third party like BuyerForesight saying, why don't you join this individual who will be chatting with you from AWS, by the way, about a ton of problems that you face?
Right. That's the genius
Because
there.
then the person does the research like they always do on that third party. What's this BuyerForesight? What's this company? What's GDL? Who are these people? Oh, I see. They host think tanks. They host these tables. They host these networking opportunities. And I don't see anybody pitching anything. And I do my review here and I look out to these people there and nobody's getting the bait and switch. Nobody has a target on their back. Yeah, I'd love to go to this dinner.
Interesting. That's an interesting
Hey,
approach.
can I bring a couple of friends? Hey, have you ever thought to ask these people to attend?
Wow. So should cybersecurity companies not host it themselves? They should look for like a neutral third
The
party.
ones that do it right come across as neutral,
Okay.
but there is a fine line because
And
then sales wants them to be qualified to a certain extent, or marketing needs to reach a certain lead score in order for them to qualify. It also comes down to bandwidth because these are not quick and easy to pull
yeah.
off. You need to deal with the logistics of the venue. You need to deal with massive lists and the cadences that those massive lists need to go through. You have to have the team that's willing to make the dials and build the cadences and follow up on the people and do the research. So it can be a 4 or 5 man show. Most B2B organizations used to have these 5 man, 5 women shows in house. And then rifts happened and new leadership came in. And now a field marketing team is just the field marketing manager. The event marketing staff is just Julie, the event marketer. So
Yeah.
they don't even have the wherewithal to do this themselves. So they come to organizations such as ours,
Got you.
or such
All
as
right.
BuyerForesight.
I'm still.
Talking like I'm still employed there.
Well, I mean, that's a fantastic service and it's a great idea in general if you can figure out how to do it right with a small team, like you said, as most cybersecurity startups are, pretty limited in their resources.
Better
But
to go to the pros.
I
It's
feel like,
better to go to somebody that's got the 5, 10, in the case of BuyerForesight, in the case of GDS, 20 years of experience doing this.
yes,
Because on the surface, it looks real easy. Oh,
yeah,
great. Put together some
just send out some
messaging that's
invites and
focusing on challenges. Invite them to a dinner. Follow up with them the 3, 4, 5 times to make sure that they attend the dinner without coming across as too pushy.
Hey,
Making sure that the Uber picks them up and drops them off, making sure that your sales team gets there and they're not too pushy. So
right.
many different things that can go wrong. I've personally built hundreds of these, not thousands. And just because I make it look easy doesn't mean it is. I make it look easy because I've done hundreds, if not thousands.
Got it. That's an excellent service. Well, I want to get into your new gig right now. What you're doing with Dextego and AI powered coaching for sales pros. Like, what is that? How does that work? Tell us about that.
So it's funny, it's my network that drew me to getting the chance to know and work with Ioana Onasi, who is the CEO and co-founder of the organization.
Okay.
She had built this amazing sales tool, but had the foresight to actually build it based on actual sellers. So Dextego is not the only tool out there that is helping B2B sellers engage with their prospects in a more meaningful and revenue driving way.
Right.
We are one of the first to actually train the model or have sellers train the model. I mean, there
Okay.
are some competitors out there, their claim to fame is we couldn't sell. We went to Chat GPT, chatted the hell out of it, and it taught us how to sell and taught us how to teach others how to sell.
Okay. That's a bit
Okay,
of a
how many
reach.
deals did you lose? How many times have you been at 80% of quota? How many pips did you have to put a team through? Talk to me about the time that the guy you were dealing with for months had a heart attack the day of your meeting and your
Oh,
deal died on the table.
yeah.
Show me how to do this from 8 or 9 different perspectives using several different methodologies. Because today I might need to do it the challenger way. Tomorrow I might need to do it med pick. Thursday I might need to consider ban. So you wanna build a tool that, as of today, has over 200 years of actual sellers having trained the model. So it is agnostic and doesn't care what you're selling. It doesn't give two squirts who your ICP is, or the methodology that you use, or the processes that are a part of your selling framework. It doesn't care about the CRM you use because it can integrate. Um, it doesn't care when you're talking to people or how to prepare for it because it can look at your calendar and give you that preparation before you hop on the call. It's seamless with everything because it was built by sellers. And any seller who's honest and worth their weight in hay will also tell you they're lazy as F. They don't want to do the work unless it's been made real simple, stupid, and they could do it Forrest Gump style, which is why a lot of sales training tools fail to get adoption. Because you don't understand all the work I got to do. And now I got to go here. Now I'm in here. And I don't understand. Why can't it be in my CRM? Why can't it live just in my calendar? I don't want to go here. I don't want to do that. I'm not using this tool.
Right.
I have personally trained over 2,000 SDRs in my career. So if you're going to come early, you got to come before the birds wake up because I wake the birds up.
Okay. Got it.
I sit there with
Yeah.
seeds at 3 a.m. Here you go, Mockingbird. Here you go, Blue Jay. So if you're going to come pulling over on me, you got to come real early with infrared and night vision goggles on.
Right.
So this tool is designed to integrate with your CRM and your calendar. So before Joe Fontana has his 9 a.m. with Laura Kenner, he's getting notifications. You have a 9 a.m. with Laura Kenner tomorrow. Why don't you share the LinkedIn profile so we can figure out what her disc profile is or where she sits in a big five or an ocean demographic? And then based on that, let's look at your CRM that's telling us that this is conversation 2 with Laura. And here's what you're going to need to do to be successful to get to conversation 3. Ready, set, go.
Okay.
So it's giving them the micro coaching that they need in the moment, a thing that any sales leaders know is difficult at times to provide.
Right.
You either have to have the magic of, I have a one-on-one with him on Tuesday at 2 and a Tuesday at 3 he's getting on the call. So we're going to go through some preparation, how to get ready for it. But more often than not, it's, I have a call in 30 minutes. I just realized I have issues here. He's nowhere to be seen. He's in a one-on-one himself. Like, help.
Right. Right. in the moment as you
So
go.
it gives that in the moment coaching. And we've sprinkled AI in a lot of different places. So just like we've sprinkled AI into the tool to coach you, we're sprinkling it into finding as much information on your prospect as we can.
I was
So
going to
that
ask.
you know, as somebody who sits as a D on the disc profile, how a conversation with somebody who's a C on that same profile should look like.
Perfect. And of course, it
Because, hey,
has.
funny man, your jokes aren't going to work today. Hey,
It's,
data boy, this guy wants to hear some sizzle. He doesn't give two squirts about steak. So it's providing them that in the moment coaching that they need. And from a sales leadership perspective, it's allowing them to coach at scale and micro coach at scale and see the progress of those sellers and the coaching and the investment that they're making in themselves.
so they can um, contribute their own sort of
Not necessarily,
information
well,
or
contribute so far as, okay, Laura had 8 sessions this week. Here's the scorecards for them. Here's where we know Laura's doing well. Here's where we know Laura needs some more work. So now I have my one-on-one with Laura on Thursday. I can put together a stronger plan to ensure that wherever she's weak, she's getting the help and the resources that she needs
okay.
that go beyond role playing and coaching.
Yeah.
Laura, Tom used to have the same problem. I want you to spend 30 minutes with Tom this week so you can just learn how he got past it.
And it helps you do
Hey,
your
I hear that
research
you're,
too before you go
yeah,
in. So you
it
know.
helps that sales leader better define how they have to help that individual. On the flip side,
Right.
ironically enough, we also provide coaching for the sales leaders themselves so that managers can practice challenging leadership conversations and get suggestions on tone or phasing. They can get coaching based on, hey, you got an alpha of an alpha coming in tomorrow. He's not going to want to hear about your new plan that he thinks is going to screw him out of 30 grand this year.
Right.
Here's how you deal with that individual. So, unlike a lot of other organizations that are providing sales coaching, we look at ourselves as more of a holistic approach to coaching in general. So, we're
Yeah.
providing the seller the coaching they need, but we're also providing their new manager who 3 weeks ago was doing the same work that they were doing with the tools they need to become an effective manager.
Okay. Oh, well, I'm going to say there's a lot of skepticism around AI. It sounds like you've already nipped some of those in the bud and that this is trained on real human experience. And
And it replaces nothing.
it's
It
not
does not
just
replace
more verbal.
coaching or learning. It's enhancing and allowing them to drive that in a more realistic and aligned way, if that makes any sense.
Yeah. Yes. Yes, it does. Do you think AI coaching completely replaces human mentorship, or do you feel like it's a complement to it?
It's a compliment. Anybody that looks at AI as a replacement, I mean, you have to also then question what it's replacing.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I don't look at our tool as replacing anything more than it's giving you not only knowledge and education and tools, but it's giving you time back. As a sales leader, you
Right.
manage a team of 15, your one-on-ones are at least 30 minutes. If you're decent, they're an hour. You've lost 2 days.
Yeah.
If you're going to lose that 2 days, how do you make the most effective use of it? Or how can you turn that 2 days into maybe 8 hours? Well, now you don't have to go digging through every call and researching every aspect. You've got a clear cut definition of what you need to do as a leader to help them along.
Right. So it's a huge efficiency play. It's efficient, makes you more efficient and effective, I guess.
Coaching
Per-
both sides of the sales equation. So it's helping me as the seller be a more effective seller, and it's helping my manager better coach me.
Awesome.
So as
Well,
it goes to the time a manager would put into either of those, it could be a
yeah,
monumental task. Wow, look at the time. Oh,
I know.
time flies
Oh,
when you're
now.
having fun.
So I am going to try to wrap this up right now, but I mean, we could bring you back someday for more questions, but
Don't threaten me with a good time. I'm always
Dextego
happy to
sounds
chat, Laura.
amazing. We will include a link to both your LinkedIn to Dextego. Am I saying it right? Dextego.
Everybody pronounces it a different way. Dextego,
Dextego's
Dextego,
website.
Dextego, anything will do.
Yes, I encourage sellers to go check that out. That sounds very, very helpful. That sounds like an amazing product, and I love that it's built on human experience. That's really where the value is. Um, so I'm just gonna call it a wrap for this episode of the Community Paul. Thank you,
Thanks
Joe,
for
for all
having
of
me,
your
Rob.
fantastic advice for sales pros. You can find all of those links down in the description. And if you want to share your hot take, teach something, or even call out something in this industry that is not working, reach out to me on LinkedIn. That's exactly what the community spotlight is for. Make sure you're subscribed. Sorry. Make sure you're subscribed to our newsletter at bootstrapcyber.com. That's where we share what's happening across cybersecurity behind the scenes, stories, exclusive downloads, and open calls for new guests. It's the best way to stay connected. Thanks for tuning in to the Community Spotlight. We'll see you again soon with more voices from the industry. Thank you, Joe.
Oh, my pleasure. You have a great day, and thanks for having me.
You're welcome. Thanks for being here.